Gary Guglielmin,
Here.
Mrs. Michaels, Hank Williams,
Here.
and Elizabeth Nissel.
Present.
Is that what I say right?
Nice.
Okay.
Okay, typically we approve the minutes of the last meeting, but I don't think we have minutes from the last meeting because we didn't have a secretary. But I can just say briefly from memory, the only issue on the agenda back then was the branches parking issue, and I believe this is a public hearing session for that. Is that correct?
I think so, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah?
Yes, it is.
And so, yeah, and was anybody, did anybody wish to speak in the public hearing? Was there any applications?
Nothing.
Okay, no public hearing. So, yeah, so that's the minutes of the last meeting. We listened to the parking appeal from the Copperwood soon-to-be branches. Aha.
Hey.
Have a seat. Oh. You just missed the Pledge of Allegiance. Okay. So, for the first order of business, I would like to announce to our Shandaken constituency that for the first time in, I think, about a year and a half, the Zoning Board of Appeals for Shandaken is now at full strength. We just have two new members who are duly signed and sworn in, Elizabeth Nissel and Hank Williams. Thanks for showing up and serving, guys. So, for the first time in, I think, about a year and a half, we are at full strength. We have 5 members duly sworn and ready to serve. So, so let's get to work. What's the first issue we're hearing? We just did that. We just missed it. And we didn't have the minutes from the last meeting because no one was here today. So what's the first order of business?
We have Scott Oz from the Alpine Stereo. He is doing
You want me to explain it?
yeah, sure.
Okay, Scott has a bed and breakfast up on Galacucci Road next to Jimmy McGrath's ski shop. And because of the changing business character, he's looking for a change of use variance to change from a bed and breakfast to a takeout restaurant with possibly some tables on the deck. Is that?
That might be an eventuality, but it's certainly not going to be
Okay.
anytime soon.
Right, it's on the existing footprint of the building, and he's gonna move the kitchen out to what's now a porch, and he will have people phone in and order food, and then drive up to the front driveway and hand out the food. So that's his plan. He needs a change of use for that.
And deliveries too, I was going to do deliveries.
That's right.
There's nobody who delivers in the area, but, yeah. You want me to come up to a mic? Or?
Yeah,
Yeah, please. There's a mic right over here.
Right here.
Right here.
I got the plot plan and want me to show you these? Here.
How many do you have?
Let me just push this here. Hold on a second. Take that. That's the revised one.
Okay.
Because you see what I did? I put the existing kitchen here, and this is the bump out, and then that's going to be covered. This will be an empty space, it'll just be covered. And then this is what it is right there.
Just one copy?
Yeah, that's, yeah.
So this is the road up to Bel Air. This is the existing drive.
And there's an existing porch here, which he's gonna convert into a kitchen. It's a covered porch, and then he's gonna extend the covered section over here, but there's nothing happening there. So the intent is people will drive up, after calling and ordering their food, will drive up.
Jimmy's place is here or here? Okay.
Who's that, Brad place next to it?
Yes, the ski shop. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sir, is there food service being conducted here at the?
Well, it's a bed and breakfast. I've been doing breakfast for 20 years there. For 20 years, yeah.
Right. So,
Yeah, I've already been producing food, but this is, I don't really want to do breakfast because I'm not going to do accommodations.
okay.
So, yeah, so we're going to mostly do, probably start with just nighttime stuff.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no additional construction, there just
No new construction.
It's a pretty simple bump out. It's basically a rectangle, and Howie, did you see the little one? Show them that.
So he's moving the kitchen from here, this is covered porch. And we did extend the cover.
Okay.
Over to that, so it's not infringing on the...
Yeah, basically, we're just covering the existing porch and converting it.
So this is your permanent aspiring business model, or is this just?
No, I'm not gonna do accommodations anymore. Now, listen, I also have my place up for sale, and I've had it up for sale for a while. If it gets sold, would this be transferable to the next occupant?
I believe the answer is yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, because, I mean, you never know. I mean, I could sell it tomorrow, and maybe I'll never sell it. I've been trying for a couple of years.
Well, real estate is moving really rapidly around.
Yeah, it's just I'm in an unusual spot. I have a big house right near the road. I got the ski shop next to me, so people want things that are set back in the forest. Yeah.
Okay, well, we have to have a public hearing on this issue before we can make a ruling.
Yes,
Correct?
schedule a public hearing.
Yeah, so, this is actually state law, this is on us.
Okay.
We have to announce the public hearing, it has to be announced in our newspaper record 2 weeks before the next meeting. And if there are any objections or support from any neighbors, they're allowed to speak, and that...
Yeah. Well, I only have Crossroad Ventures on that side of me, and then in the back, and then Jimmy's Ski Shop is on the right. And I applied for a variance here a long time ago, and they signed off on it real quick. I actually have no neighbors, like real neighbors,
Okay. But we still have to have...
Yeah, motion to take a public hearing.
I second that.
Well, formally, I'll make a motion to send this over to public hearing.
We have a second? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Okay, so we'll need to meet with you next month, same time, same place.
Okay, so...
And in spite of what you say, we...
No, that's okay. I don't have a problem with it.
Okay.
That's all right. But how will I know when to come? Like you said, next month. You guys meet once a month?
Yeah.
Okay, that's it. Okay, so it'll be in September.
September 16th.
Okay, yeah. Can I get my drawing back, or?
Yeah.
Okay, thanks. I'm assuming that most people would like to get food delivered, since nobody does it in the area, right?
Yeah, I know.
I want to get two small cars, and my logo on it and stuff. And yeah, because when I first moved up here, and to this day, as far as I know, there's nobody that has delivery. You guys know of anybody? Just offhand? I never understood why.
No. There is Meals on Wheels for elderly people.
Well, that's a different thing, though. This is like, like if you order from Peekaboo, you go pick up at the Peekaboo.
Right.
Or as an example,
What kind of range?
range do you think, how far would you go?
I don't know. I might be charging, if it's past a certain radius. I don't know about that yet.
I'm curious.
Yeah.
What kind of menu are you talking about?
Well, I want to start with pizza and related items like that. Basically fast food, and if I'm able to go patio, outdoor, I'm not going to go indoors, but like next summer. If I'm able to go patio, I'm going to do a bluestone patio with a fire pit in the middle, tables, umbrellas.
Oh, cool.
And it'll be really nice, because I'm at 2,000 feet elevation, it's great up there. And then that will be more, it'll be more upscale food.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a chef by trade, I just happened to stumble into this a long time ago,
Okay.
But the food would be very good.
Great.
Okay.
Good to hear.
You're changing your use because probably the SDR community has,
Well, that was, that was an impact. Well, the Airbnbs in particular, not the other, not like the RBO or anything like that, but the Airbnbs have really sucked up everything. And in fact, I'm selling my place, and that's probably what somebody's gonna do with it. But at least I'm zoned, for it. But the Airbnbs they've eaten up everything up here. They've put a squeeze on everybody. Yeah. And I've been here 20 years, and, I had a very successful business. My business went from number 1 to 0, when the pandemic started. So, but but the food thing, I always wanted to do food anyway. I originally came up here, Hank, to actually do a restaurant originally. And then it just morphed into something else, So, but I can cook some pretty good food. I think people will enjoy it. I think it'll be actually a big success if the house doesn't sell first. Okay, so is that it, guys?
See you in a month.
Yeah,
Okay, thanks a lot.
thank you. Okay, so you're in from branches?
You want to do branches next? Okay.
What's your idea?
I had Howard next, I don't know, it was just how it went,
Yeah.
but it doesn't
No, it's
matter.
up to you.
Yeah.
Okay, Howard Budinsky, he's, this has been a long time for an area variance.
And that's the shed, correct?
Yes.
So this new shed replaces the old shed, is it not on the same footprint? It is? Are you the applicant? Yeah, come on up, talk to us.
I just wrote this note down. I spoke with my neighbor, Joe DeSalle, on Sunday evening. He explained to me his uncle built a shed on the property line, and he was okay with it. He said when I replaced the shed in the same spot, he was fine with it. Furthermore, he explained that this all came about because of a lot line adjustment, where he is selling me land to extend my cabin. Joe said, and I quote, "Would I be selling you the land if the shed was an issue?"
Okay,
So basically, there was a shed, we built a shed.
and
I
it's,
think there's pictures of the original shed in there as well. Wow, that's the new one.
right, and here's the old one, right?
Yep.
Yeah, and so if it's on the same footprint, why does he need a variance? Or does he?
Well, he does need a variance because he's only 1 foot 3 inches away from the property line. And our code says a shed should be minimum of 10 feet away from the property line.
But
So
I'm asking why
it's-
it wasn't grandfathered in? Why wouldn't it be grandfathered?
Because it was built after 1976.
All right, so,
And it was also built without a building permit.
okay,
So I can't grant a variance, that's up to the board to do that. So that's why he's here tonight. And he's also proposing to do this lot line adjustment, which is before the planning board, so that he can put this addition on the existing house.
okay,
So it's two separate things that are going on.
right. That doesn't relate to the shed.
The only thing that relates to the shed is the fact that he needs a variance,
Okay,
approval for a variance.
okay. Yeah, so I know you've been working on this for a long time, and virus hit, et cetera, but I think we're still obligated to hold a public hearing on this, right?
This was supposed to be the public hearing.
Public hearing tonight.
Was that announced?
That's been
Yes.
announced for a long.
Yeah, back in,
Okay,
And I checked it
February.
out 2 weeks ago. with
Yeah,
them,
this was the
so
public hearing.
This was it tonight.
Okay.
We waited
Yeah.
a year for this.
okay.
Okay.
Yeah, we're still trying to catch up.
Oh, I
This is
know.
all our second-
Yeah, no problem.
We're good.
So, does anybody, any of the public want to
From
speak?
anybody. Once everything had gone out, everybody knew, then the pandemic started, then we got back up again. Haven't heard from anybody, no neighbors, no nothing, and
Okay,
we're here again.
And, you know, I can attest to the original shed. The original shed was built by the Sarlees uncle, and I bought that property from Spalding Berry. And the shed was pre-existing, non-conforming.
it's on Grandview?
No, it's on Woodland Valley Road.
Okay. Okay. So,
Make a motion to approve the application.
I'll second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you very much.
Motion granted, thank you.
What is, I guess I talk to you tomorrow about my next steps?
yep, mhm,
Okay, thank you.
yeah.
Right?
And so the next step is with the planning board, there's a lot line adjustment?
A lot line adjustment, yeah, he's planning on changing the boundary so he has enough rear yard setback so that he can do the new addition.
Yeah, it's about a 16-foot addition, 16 by 25, which Joe, who is my neighbor, approved and sold me the property.
Okay.
And
Or-
Howard, if I may cut in, where are we with that? Did the planning board put that to a public hearing?
I don't know if it even needed a public hearing. I think the only public hearing meeting was this because of of that part. Why would I need a public hearing about a lot line adjustment? Because Joe's the only one behind me. I don't think they will.
That's, It's a separate issue.
The lot line adjustment doesn't need a public hearing?
We're not moving it now.
Okay.
And I already have the plans from Joe Dome,
Yeah.
which I believe you have. That's what we were waiting
I have
for
the
you to
plans, yeah.
just sign the plans.
And there's the lot line effect where the shed is, it's gonna,
No, it's behind. One's on
One's
the
behind,
left
one's
side,
behind.
and this is behind.
all right, so it doesn't affect the possession.
No,
of the shed.
the extension is in the back,
All right.
and I'm 25, I was like 18 feet short, so I bought 25 feet.
So you're asking for an adjustment to give you,
And then because of that, we came to this.
okay. Well, good luck and thank you for your patience.
Thank you.
Oh, no problem. I got so much going on.
Yeah, a lot of people do. Okay, that's short and sweet. So,
Thank you. Thank you.
so maybe we hear from branches.
Okay.
Hello.
So this was a public hearing as well, right?
Okay.
This was a public
Yes.
hearing as well. Was there anybody speaking to the public hearing?
Nope.
So, I think since we last met last month, we did get on the Ulster County Planning Board agenda, and they issued a letter of, yeah, go ahead.
So, we did submit to the Ulster County Planning Board. I know that there was some confusion over a little bit of the paperwork. This is a copy of the package that was submitted. I did forward it to you guys. That's exactly what was submitted. And then we also received back a letter of no county impact from them. So I have copies of that. Don't mind taking one and passing them around. And aside from that, nothing has changed with the plan. We're still seeking an area variance for the parking, based on the mitigating issues that we presented before. If anybody's unaware of the issues and the situation, I'm happy to go through it again. I did plan a whole presentation, but no one showed up.
It's not necessary for me. Do you guys need any other information about the project?
Yeah, I'd like to know, who is the lead agency on this project?
So technically, we are in front of the planning board for a site plan approval. Sorry, my mask fell off. They needed a variance from this board in order to continue their process. So we are dealing with the planning board for an entire site plan approval.
And they're the lead agency
And
for
they're,
the whole project.
they're gonna be the lead agency of the whole project. We've started that coordinated review, and all of everything went out pre-COVID, so we haven't been back to them since COVID started. What we're doing right now is a lawful segmented review, so you guys are gonna do your own uncoordinated review, and I do have all of the EAF paperwork with me for that, so that you guys can make a motion on this either way.
And that came, just to clarify, I'm Mike Moriello, the attorney for the applicant. That came about at the request of the planning board. The planning board said, we want you to go through the process with the ZBA first before you come to us. And we said, well, the best way to do that is to do a lawfully segmented review, have your board make its own secret determination, then we'll go back to them for the coordinated review.
Okay, so the planning board is the lead agency, so they will be responsible for the secret review and environmental impact statement.
For the entire site plan, but you guys are responsible for also doing your own uncoordinated review, and I did bring copies.
And it's only a short.
Specifically around the parking lot
Yes,
itself?
they still have to, in order to make a motion, they still have to do the environmental review. I did bring copies of the short EAF. It's the exact same one for the, that's in front of the planning board.
This is just an addendum to the original site plan, separating issue of parking.
It would be considered an addendum, Mike?
Yeah, well,
Just for the park.
it's a part of the review that the planning board.
Mike, come up and,
requested.
pick up the
The
mic.
planning board requested us to. They don't want to see me. I want to see the good-looking guys. But the planning board
requested that we do it this way, so I think that the best way to preserve the record and make a good record with the ZBA was to have the ZBA just go through the part 2 of the short EAF and just make its own findings of non-significance with the project. That's how we determined to do it.
So basically, we're seeking hopefully a neg deck from you all tonight, but only specifically because of the variance that we have to receive from you guys. The planning board will also be doing their own review of the EAF and, God willing, giving us a neg deck on that project too. I did print out copies of part 2 in case you guys didn't have any.
But specifically, the zoning board is looking at the impact specific to that parking lot
parking
area.
lot variance,
Okay,
yes.
not the whole site plan.
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
Okay. Maybe, do you want to talk about the wetland delineation that you guys did?
I'm more than happy to go through the regulatory issues that we are faced with on the entire site plan. We are looking not only to get site plan approval from the planning board, we are working on DEP stormwater, DEC notice of intent for the stormwater, DEP sewer, DEC speedies, DOT entrance modifications, because we're going to be modifying the entrance. And DOH for public water supply. Those are kind of the entirety of what we're doing. It's it's a rather large project. We're taking the entire place and renovating everything and trying to improve it. So new septic systems, new parking, new entrances, not new building, but renovated building. Part of it will be new. It's a very large site plan involved.
And as the owner, before I bought the place, during the due diligence process, we hired a team to do wetland delineation around this new parking area, make sure that the new graded road leading to the new parking area isn't on wetlands. It's not in the floodway, so the way that Catterskill Associates has laid it out on the site plan. We also looked at some archaeological stuff, make sure there's nothing there. And endangered species, we have an endangered species studies.
Yeah.
And we have a phase 1 environmental study that obviously we can share with the zoning board. I think it's in the packet that we sent.
I believe it is. We have submitted everything that we have, yeah. To Stephen's credit, he did 2 years of due diligence on this, really assessing everything, and far more than most of my clients want to get into before jumping on a project, honestly.
Well, we appreciate that. We have an environmentally sensitive, beautiful area here. We want to keep it that way. You guys were familiar with the site, were you not?
Pardon?
Are you familiar with the site?
Yes, sir, I am.
Yeah, I visited it today.
Okay, great.
To be clear, I think this is just us to agree on a variance for the
Correct.
reduced parking for the project.
That is
That's
the only
correct.
approval we are seeking
To
tonight.
simplify it, that's
correct.
what we're looking at.
Yes, sir.
And all the impact studies will be done by the lead agency and the state.
Yes, sir.
And the city and
city.
and everybody.
Some of which has already been done.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, we're in the process of everything. We've had preliminary conversations with DEP about sewer and stormwater, and they're on board for what we're doing. We have concept sketches of everything, and we're in that approval process now and finalizing
Great.
designs.
Well, you got a beautiful property. I hope it works out.
Yeah, me
It
too.
will, I'm sure. Yeah.
Thank you.
So actually, they're increasing the planned parking. There's 15 spaces available now, correct? And they're expanding that.
As 15 available spaces using current zoning metrics, I mean, you could go into that parking lot, you could probably fit 30 cars if you wanted to, but if you actually made it all up to today's code, it is 15.
Okay.
Yeah.
Per Catterskill's survey work,
Okay.
properly with handicap spots and everything, it's 15.
So,
What are you increasing it to?
We're increasing it to 50,
55.
55. Actually double checking, I think it might be actually 56.
And
so I
that includes
apologize.
one bus stop.
That includes
Plus-
one
plus
bus.
a bus
Yeah, so
stop, yeah.
it's 55 plus one large bus area and 2 handicap parking spaces. What we're doing is we're putting in a new parking lot on the lower flat.
Right.
okay, so the issue is on Reg 116-24, Part 3, reads, in the case of a combination of uses on a single parcel, the requirement for off-street parking spaces shall be the sum of the requirements for the various individual uses, unless it can be established by the applicant to the satisfaction of the planning board during site plan review that staggered hours of use would permit reduction of this requirement. So basically, they needed variance on that reg. And this is something we ran into in the short-term rental committee meeting. These regs were envisioned in the 1950s and they were enacted in the 1970s. And in that period, nobody ever envisioned that there would be a spa and a restaurant and a work-study place and what else do you have, a retreat all in one. I mean, we still have regs on the books for boarding houses. So, again, I think this is an issue where our current business models are somewhat outstripping our zoning laws. So I'm trying to do along the variance. How do you guys feel? Okay, may I have a motion?
Make a motion.
We should walk through the part 2 of the seeker and just at least answer the questions, no. That's all. Before we vote.
Do we need to close the
That's why you
public
got to take the
hearing?
big box right there.
Yeah.
Mark?
That and the way I dress.
Yes, do we need a motion for that?
I think we need a motion to
Tell
close
about
the
my
public
shoes.
hearing, yeah.
May I have a motion to close the public hearing?
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing.
Do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Public hearing is hereby closed. Okay. We'll go through the review.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You're gonna go through the part 2.
Yes.
You have it, right, Martin?
I handed out copies. Did
Yeah.
everybody get it one? Okay. Happen to be an extra one in there that makes deal. Thank you.
And we would suggest for the answers on the part 2, that all of the answers would be no for this project based on the small amount of impacts that are occurring.
We are the lead agents.
That's correct, but you're doing your own segmented review, just for the variance, that's all. That's the only thing. So my suggestion would be that the answers would be no or small impact may occur in each instance. I think the answers are all no, but.
Okay.
And those answers may not be all no for the overall project. There may be actually some answers that are moderate to large, but for the purposes of the variance, I think.
Yeah,
There-
specifically related to variance.
But even if we grant a variance, and they do the impact study, and they find out that the reduced parking and actually where it is affects the environment or, wildlife or any sort of quality of life, that they would either change or add to the variance that you're requesting now.
Yeah, this is, it's a kind of an unusual situation because it's a lawful segmented review, which you're allowed to do under the seeker regulations, but you're precisely right. They could, in their coordinated review, say, we disagree and adopt their, because your decision is not binding on anyone else except for your board. That if you're doing a coordinated review, then that decision is binding on all the other involved agencies, but this is the opposite, so that's absolutely correct.
I have one question, though. The variance is for the numerical reduction to 55 parking spaces. If the site plan doesn't get approved, for example, or we can raise capital because of COVID-19, or could we still, with the variance hold for 55 parking spaces, even if it means we have to redesign the actual site plan so that it does satisfy
Your
the
variance would be
coordinated
good.
review? Does that make sense?
Yeah. I guess so. I don't, why is this not a coordinated review? Aren't most of these situations?
Because in order to get through the planning board process, and the planning board is the lead agency, we need a variance from you before they'll move forward.
Okay.
So in order to do that, we have to get the variance, but in order for you to grant the variance, we have to do seeker. And so we have to do an uncoordinated, lawful, segmented review with you, and then we'll be able to go back to the planning board, and they will do, it's complicated, I know, I apologize.
Yeah.
And it is a bit tricky.
No, I tried to read through your, Mr. Moriella's.
Yeah.
It's pretty boring.
Yes,
It looks like English, but it's really not English.
The only reason they're here is for the parking variance.
Right.
Yes, you are not making it, hopefully, negative on anything other than the impacts of the parking variance to the environment.
Meaning the amount of spaces that
Yes, sir.
They're,
they're requesting.
they mean that they won't have the amount of spaces that the regs.
I think they need, like, based on all the square footage and the hotel rooms and private residence, I think they need like 120-something spaces.
Yeah.
They don't have the land, I guess, required to accommodate that many vehicles
Correct.
at one time, so they're requesting a reduced amount of parking and
Right.
for the amount of rooms and square footage they have in the restaurant
Right.
and the outdoor dining and the single-family house, so they're requesting the variance for a limited amount of parking.
Understood, but do we, does this committee now need to sign off on the environmental assessment form part 2?
I'm not sure about that, only if it relates to the parking lot, but
And it's only for the, what I did for the, if you look on the sheet, there's a part 3 that says, explain for anything that's moderate to large. I had written on this one, for the reasons set forth above, there are no significant environmental impacts associated with this lawfully segmented action for an area variance. So it's limited to that, you know, and just leave it that way.
Well, I'd be prepared to make a decision now. Does anybody need to move? Do you want to?
I'm fine making a decision.
Yes.
Okay. So, may I have a motion?
I'll make the motion to grant variance on their parking.
Do we have a second?
I second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Variance granted.
That's
Thank you
great.
very much.
And then we just need we need a
Signature, correct?
signature, yeah, right, we need the title and the signature.
Yeah.
Just
Just
one signature?
Yeah.
Yeah, just the chairman.
Don't mind passing that over to the chairman, please. We just need a signature on the EAF itself there.
And I can send that back in to the board too, you know, so you have it. I'll send it back to the ZBA. Yeah, don't worry about that. That's, for your purposes, for segmented review, you're the lead agency, but only for this one.
But only for the
Portion.
area variance.
Okay.
The form is very confusing.
This doesn't say somewhere on it that it's just for the parking variance.
That's what I added. I added to part 3. Yep, I added to part 3. I wanted to, I'm going to make sure it's limited, so when it goes back for your records, everyone knows it was only for that.
So on this form, the name of lead agency, the zoning board?
Yep.
Okay. So signing where the responsible officer?
Yep, just sign, yeah, if you sign there, I can fill out the rest, that's not a problem. And send it back to
Elizabeth, you
you.
want to look at what he added and with pen?
I can send it to Elizabeth too.
I'm signing.
Yeah, I can send a copy to her if you want.
All right, so yeah, I guess we need a copy of that for our records.
Thank you very much.
All right, thanks again. Appreciate
Thank
it.
you, everyone.
Thank you.
Really appreciate it.
Thank you to the board.
Yeah, and thanks for doing all your due diligence on that property. Good luck with the property.
Happy to. All right, thanks. Everyone have a great night.
Thank you.
Another seawall now, 6 o'clock.
What's that last name that is easy?
Well, thank you very much.
Thank you. I think that concludes our business.
No, one more.
I'm sorry.
2 more.
Two more.
Yeah.
For an area variance?
Michael is looking for a area variance. He wants to put up a fence around his property. He lives on a,
Yes.
so he lives on a corner lot. So corner lot, you're faced with two restrictions. Of course, the front yard fence can only be 4 feet high in the front yard, 6 feet high on the side and rear. In his situation, he's on a long winding curve, and he would like to put up a 6-foot fence for privacy.
This was on Grandview?
Grandview, yep. And we're just looking for a 120-foot run just on the south side of the house, so it's not around the whole property, it's just for the privacy on the south side there.
120 feet, 6 feet high.
Yes.
Okay, long fence. So we need a public hearing, right?
Yeah, we have to schedule a public hearing, so we should.
How far in from the property line of the fence?
I'm sorry.
How far in from the property line of the fence?
Well, the highway department has a 25-foot, actually a 50-foot right of use. So it doesn't mean the fence has to be 25 feet away from the property line, but it cannot interfere with plowing of snow.
Right.
So it has to be set back from the highway.
I've measured at about 6 feet from the
With 6
white
feet,
line.
it's probably going to be tight.
Okay, where
Which you should probably
can it
consult
go?
with Eric Hoffmeister of the highway department, what he would like to see there. Because you're downhill, so any plows, snowing, he's plowing is going to have to run downhill. So your fence might be in jeopardy if you build it too close.
Okay,
What's the construction of the fence?
What is the construction?
Yeah, what's the material?
Wood, cedar wood, just 6-foot or 10-foot posts, but 6 foot high, 10-foot panels, and just vertical cedar boards. And I was imagining 4 feet and 2 feet of air below for those reasons, like snow and water and everything. So it's really just for the privacy more than blockage of
Well, the fence
anything
then
else.
would be more than 6 feet high.
No, it would be 6 foot
4 feet
high.
are going in the ground, is that correct?
Yeah, oh yeah.
4 feet in the ground,
Yeah.
2 feet of clearance at the bottom of the fence,
Exactly.
then 4 feet of panel or.
Yes.
closure.
Yep, so the top of the fence post would be cut to 6 feet above grade.
6 feet above grade.
So, and 4 feet of panel, 2 feet of space.
Okay, sounds attractive, actually.
Should be
So-
pretty. We're gonna do cutouts in it too.
Public hearing.
Yes, so may I have a motion to have a public hearing on this case?
I'll make it.
I second it.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, public hearing, again, this is a necessity. Mount my law to do this. It's announced in the paper 2 weeks ahead of time, and it gives you neighbors or anybody else in town, the opportunity to either support or speak against it. Come back and see us in another month.
Okay, you said September 16th?
September 16th.
16th? Great, 7 o'clock, same place?
Yes.
Okay, great. Thank you all so much for your time.
Okay, thank you.
See you then.
Okay.
We have one other, Vivian wants to come in front of the board and talk about her, what is it?
She's looking for, she's got a lot.
I have like pictures.
Okay, yeah. She's got 2 lots that they're adjoining, and one of them is very, very small, and she'd like to eliminate the lot line between them, make it one parcel.
Oh, excuse me, I did not hear entirely what you
So,
said.
yeah. I have a-
sorry.
Looking to make 2 into 1?
Yeah.
It's not a planning board issue?
Well, that's what I thought. I mean, a lot line adjustment is a planning board.
Yeah.
Well, the planning board said that I needed to talk to the zoning board about this. And then Howie said that in his experience, if you buy 2 lots together, they're functionally considered to be one lot, especially if this side lot is only 25 feet wide. just 200 feet long. It's really not, and then it's adjoining a neighbor who the nearest building is quite a long way away, and that was actually his garage. His house is very far away. So it's kind of, this little lot is like in the middle of nowhere as far as the neighbors are concerned. And it's, the studio building was on that site when I bought the property. So,
Where is this property?
where is the property? It's on Plank Road.
Describe the house. What is the house look
Is
like?
this the house across from the plaza on these opus that you can see from the plaza on 28?
Do you know the place that they call the, well, it was an old inn and it has a deck right on the road practically. On Plank Road, it's a mile out of Phoenicia. And so you can take Main Street and you keep going for a mile. That's where I am. And there's, do you know where Dakota Lane's house was? I mean, it is where she used to live. It has like multicolored paint on the front. And then there's 3 houses next to each other, like kind of row of 5 houses, and I'm one of them. But I'm back from the road. I'm really kind of up the hill.
You're asking for a lot extension on the back?
I'm asking to either erase the lot line between the 2 lots, or say that it's not considered to be 2 lots functionally because it's owned by the same owner.
One issue is that the accessory structure that's on the small lot, she built an addition on it, and the addition now intrudes on the other lot, the larger lot.
So the dotted line is the second property?
That's
Yes.
that dotted line is the line between the 2 lots.
How did that even get divided like that?
Nobody knows. This was way before our time, you know.
Yeah.
And, you know, didn't even buy it from the original person that, person that I bought the property from had built the studio, was used as an office and an artist studio.
Is there any tax implication, property tax implication? We need to.
Well, the planning board thought that I would actually get a tax break by combining the 2 lots. And it's the taxes, I pay like $20 a year on the small lot, so it's not really significant.
Wow, okay. Wish I could pay $20.
You're not building anything, yeah, so they're not building anything, so you make them one. What's the total size, what's the total acre?
Well, so it's actually just under half an acre total.
That's the 2 of them put together.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I mean, I have the measurements. It's 200 and change, 204 at, okay, so this is the.
204
So that's 204 feet on the long side, 25 foot 4 inches on the short side. That's the small lot. And then
Yeah, 5,000, hold on a sec, that's about an eighth, not even an eighth of an acre.
that little one, yeah. Yeah, it's just a tiny little
Yeah,
strip.
acre's 45,000
So then the
square
main
feet.
lot is 110 by 210. That's the large lot, not counting the little one.
And that's about 23,000 square feet, so you got almost a half acre on the big one.
Right,
And then the land behind you is Mount Tremper Wilderness Area?
yes,
So that would be here,
that would be,
here.
yes. No, that's my neighbor. The Mount Tremper Wilderness area would be
Off the right side.
here,
I got it, okay.
on the right side, yes. And then the Plank Road is on the left side.
My guess is that was probably meant to be an access road, that 25-foot wide lot.
It's strange though, because it's not level. The little lot is a drop-off.
There's nothing level in the
It's a
Catskills.
drop-off.
Yeah, you've got drainage noted on there.
Yeah, it's draining down across that little lot because it's a drop-off to the next property is
The other
lower.
thing is, you cannot convey a landlocked piece, so you only access piers.
From the Plank Road is access.
Plank Road or off the other one, so I see a problem.
Yeah, that sounds like it's cleaning up a mess.
Yeah, okay. Again, I guess we have to have a public hearing before we can rule on this. So may I have a motion for a public hearing? Hank makes a motion, may I have a second?
I'll second it.
Gary seconds it, all in favor? Aye. Okay, public hearing next month, and we'll see.
And so what is the public hearing to do what?
To give, the public hearing is announced 2 weeks ahead of time in our paper of record, and it gives the public an opportunity to express their opinion about the variance you're asking for.
Okay,
And mainly the indigenous property owners, the neighbors around you.
Right.
So they're notified and see
Okay.
what their feelings are.
okay,
So it gives them an opportunity to express their opinions. It may or may not weigh out
Right.
decisions.
Yeah, you might have a neighbor that might feel they own that little piece.
Let them have it.
well, that's always a possibility.
Vivian, how wide is that, the original piece?
The original piece is, let's see, 110 by 210.
Thank you.
I don't know if the board knows, but Vivian's going to be joining the planning board.
So I heard.
Yeah, I'm taking the rest of Don Brewer's term, which ends at the end of the year.
Oh, as chairperson?
No, they already have the chairperson.
Okay. So now, what was the controversy? You're going to be on board for, I mean, they have elections in September, don't they?
Well, they just, the town board decided to vote me in because there were two openings on this board and then one on the planning board, so they did all three together
Yeah.
at their last meeting.
Right. Well, congratulations, I guess.
Thank you.
Right.
Okay,
All right, so we'll convene next month and make a ruling.
okay, great.
Does that conclude our business for today?
Yes, it does.
May I have a motion to convene the meeting?
I second it.
Elizabeth motions, Gary second, all in favor? Thank you, folks, short and sweet.
Whole meeting.
I said, come on, let's wait and hear what's going on. Yeah, thank you. I've only watched the videos and
Their branches. This is their site plan. There's another set of plans for the renovation of the existing hotel. We have plenty of these if you want to take one home and,
Oh, yeah, because I need to get up to speed. Now,
Yeah,
this is the
feel
same
free.
one that they're
We have,
submitting to planning board.
I have 50, 60 pounds worth of these. I'd like to get rid of.
Well, is this just the branches or is the other one?
This is the branch's site plan. There's also the Aram, which we have the plans upstairs.
Take a look at
Yeah, they just approved the parking
it. Yeah.
of this parcel. The site plan will be also reviewed by the planning board.
Right.